We're recording.
Yeah.
Everybody ready? All right, good. Good evening. This meeting will be open to the public in person and via teleconference. To maintain social distancing, kindly note that there will be a limit of 30 individuals permitted in the council chambers at one time. In addition, each person's temperature will be taken, and anyone with a temperature above 100.4 will be asked to leave to ensure the health and well-being of other attendees. Members of the public will be required to wear masks as well as required under the state guidelines. We thank you for your understanding as we seek to reopen the public in a very safe manner. For those members of the public that wish to participate in this meeting but choose not to attend in person, this meeting is also being held via teleconference on the app GoToMeeting. Good evening. Welcome to the July 21st, 2020 meeting of the governing body. This meeting is being videotaped and may be viewed from a link in the borough website, as well as on Verizon Fios Channel 36 and Cablevision Channel 77. You may access this meeting, as I said, through GoToMeeting app. Please turn off your cell phone ringtones, and if you are a member of the public joining us electronically, please mute your telephone until the public comment portion of the meetings begin. Mr. Pierce, will you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment for Arlene Raymond, who was the borough administrator in Emerson for 30 years.
And borough clerk.
And the borough clerk for 30 years. I didn't realize it was that long. As well as for any other Emerson residents who have passed away. Thank you. I hear her name a lot, and I never realized it was that long. I just thought that she preceded the clerk that preceded you. So, God rest her soul. This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law and adequately noticed pursuant to NJSA 104-10. Notice of this meeting of July 21st, 2020 was sent to the Record and Ridgewood News on December 19th, 2019, and noticed to said newspapers. Posted at the entrances to Borough Hall, on the bulletin board in the municipal building, and has remained continuously posted as required under the statute. Ms. Diche, please call the roll of the governing body.
Mayor DePaola?
Present.
Councilwoman Argenzia?
Present.
Councilman Daly?
Here.
Councilwoman Dinalo?
Present.
Councilman Gordon?
Present.
Council President Hoffman? Councilwoman McGuire?
Present.
Ms. Cheese joining us by teleconference. Also present are Borough Administrator Robert Hermanson, Deputy Clerk Colleen Goodell via teleconference, and alternate Borough Attorney Randy Pierce, substituting for Borough Attorney John McCann.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is excused absences. There were no absences from the previous meeting. The next order is proclamations and citations. There are no proclamations or citations this evening. The next order of business is resignation. Do I accept that for the zoning official, or do I get a motion to accept it? I guess I get a motion. May I have a motion to accept the resignation of zoning official Nelson Fulham at a future date to be determined?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. So Nelson has resigned, and we've asked him to stay until we find a suitable replacement. And he has obliged us, so we're very happy. And he doesn't leave us in the lurch. Okay. The next item on the agenda is mayor's appointment with council confirmation. Appointment of Janet Bosco as a regular member for the 5-year term to the Library Board of Trustees with a term ending 12/31/20. May I have a motion?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. All right, I just went out of turn. As far as the RFQ that went out, did everybody get a chance to look at those? Okay. Do you want to discuss that, or can I just make an appointment and...
The recommendation from our attorney is for Mr. Pierce's law firm.
Okay. Would anyone like to discuss that?
Mayor, in the comment on it. I mean, looking at all the resumes, I was very impressed with Randy's resume. 20 years experience as planning board attorney in North Arlington. So I think he would make an excellent addition to our legal.
I concur.
Mayor, Colleen is just saying that she can't hear everybody, so if everybody could just speak up a little bit, that
I
would
have a
help.
problem here. Can I move this so I can get to the microphone more easily?
Whatever you feel comfortable doing. Okay.
All right, I'd like to appoint Randy Pierce from Pierce Law as our redevelopment attorney. Is it a vote? A roll call?
Yes.
May I get a roll call, please?
It would also
Give me a
be
motion.
at an hourly rate not to exceed $150 per hour.
Okay.
Need a motion, Mayor?
I think it's my appointment, Randy, isn't it? And then go to,
No, well, this is with consent, the vice of council, it's actually your appointment,
so I appoint and then I ask for a roll call?
correct?
Okay. May I get a roll call, please, Ms. Deche?
Councilman Bailey?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGuire?
Yes.
Councilwoman Dinallo? Council President Hoffman?
Yes.
Councilman Gordon?
Yes.
Councilwoman Argenzia?
Yes.
Passes Mayor 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is minutes for approval. The Borough Clerk has not received any requests to amend the regular or closed session meeting minutes of June 23rd, 2020. May I have a motion to approve the regular and closed session meeting minutes of June 23rd?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item is correspondence. Copies of the correspondence are available in the office of the municipal clerk. Next item, number 8, is financial business, resolution number 133-20, bill list. May I have a motion to approve resolutions 133-2020, bill list?
So moved.
Second.
May I have a roll call, please?
Councilman Bailey?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGuire?
Yes.
Councilwoman Dinallo?
Yes.
Council President Hoffman?
Yes.
Councilman Gordon?
Yes.
Councilwoman Argenzia?
Yes.
Passes Mayor 6-0.
Thank you, Ms. Deche. The next item on the agenda is resolution number 134-20, authorizing the publication, printing, and distribution of a notice of sale and the publication of a summary notice of sale and prescribing the forms thereof of $6,820,000 general improvements bond dated August 15th, 2020, approving the preparation, distribution, and execution of a preliminary and a final statement for such bonds, undertaking to provide continuing disclosure of financial information, covenanting to comply with the Internal Revenue Code of 1986, as amended, designating such bonds as qualified tax-exempt obligations for purposes of the Internal Revenue Code of 1986, as amended, and authorizing various matters in connection with electronic bidding for the bonds. May I have a motion to approve Resolution 134-20?
So moved.
May I have a roll call, please?
Councilman Bailey?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGuire?
Yes.
Councilwoman Dinallo? Council President Hoffman?
Yes.
Councilman Gordon?
Yes.
Councilwoman Argenzia?
Yes.
Passes Mayor 6-0.
Thank you, Ms. Deche. The next item on the agenda is resolution number 135-20, combining several authorizations of bonds into a single issue and prescribing the details and bond thereof in the amount of $6,820,000 general improvement bond dated August 15th, 2020. May I have a motion to approve resolution number 135-20?
So moved.
Second. May I have a roll call, please?
Councilman Bailey?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGuire?
Yes.
Councilwoman Dinallo?
Yes.
Council President Hoffman?
Yes.
Councilman Gordon?
Yes.
Councilwoman Argenzia?
Yes.
Passes Mayor 6-0.
Thank you.
May I make
Ms.
a
Deche.
comment on that?
Of course.
Just wanted to let everyone know that yesterday,
Can
there
you
was,
speak up, because I don't want to make sure everybody can hear.
what I was saying was, just yesterday, we were given confirmation, and we had a meeting on Monday morning over the rating, of our ratings, and yesterday we were confirmed with S&P a AA+ rating again on our, with a stable outlook, which was very, very good for the borough. We're just below AAA, but we're working very hard in order to get there. I think with some of the things that happened with COVID, it makes it a little harder. But this is a very good thing for Emerson of where we are for our bonds and for what we've done financially. One of the things that they did give us credit for and tell us it was a good thing that we were doing was something that our CFO implemented, which is giving myself a rundown every month of where we are per month, of where we are with the budget and our expenses, so that we can take a look and see where we are going each month in comparison to where we are, whether we're at budget on that for that line item, or below or higher or whatever. They love the fact that we were doing that. They said that they're looking to implement that same thing throughout the state, and like to see that through people who are looking for ratings. And they complimented us for the things that we've done and the way the CFO handled everything on this. So I want to compliment our CFO and the way that we've gone about, and the way that we've looked to watch our dimes and nickels here. We've obviously done a good job to make sure that we maintain that AA+ rating.
Our borough administrator is being a little coy. I think he had a hand in helping our CFO with all of that hard work. So thank you, Rob, and thank you to Lauren, our CFO. The next item on the agenda is Resolution Number 136-20, authorize Mayor DePaola to sign contract with Sedembrino Architects for architectural services for an addition to and renovation of Borough Hall for the total amount of $749,500. May I have a motion to approve?
Mayor, can I just have one? I assume our borough attorney...
Ken, can you speak into the mic?
I'm sorry. I assume our borough attorney has reviewed the entire contract?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, and if anybody has any questions or specific questions on what this entails, I can give you answers to that, whether you would like to know that.
So just as a very brief, this entails everything from the beginning through the building of the new addition. It does not include if we make any changes. There would be an additional charge if there were actual changes. But as far as the square footage that we've already approved, it includes all of the schematics as well as oversight of the construction project.
Yep, everything except for 5 feet out of the building. So from the building out this way, anything environmental obviously would be secondary. Our engineering costs that would be involved, that would be second. That would also be a separate cost for Neglia that would be doing there and on the engineering side. But everything else that you're looking for, the schematics, the building, the inside of the building, and how it would be, the drawings and what's done, and working with our utility companies and so forth and so on, that's all in this price, everything inclusive.
And
Right to
Mr.
the end.
McCann's approval was included in your packet right before the contract.
Okay, I missed that. Will this be posted on the borough website, Gene?
The contract?
Yes.
If we can.
If you'd like to.
Sure,
Mayor, just so the public is aware of what
absolutely.
That's not a problem.
I would just start a new heading on the website for Borough Hall renovation.
Okay.
And then as documents start becoming created, we could just keep a file of it, not unlike the redevelopment.
Good idea.
And then it's easy to find.
Okay. Will
Okay.
do.
May I have a motion to approve Resolution Number 136-20?
So moved.
Second.
May I have a roll call, please?
Councilman Bailey?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGuire? Councilwoman Denalo?
Yes.
Council President Hoffman?
Yes.
Councilman Gordon?
Yes.
Councilwoman Argenzia?
Yes.
Passes, Mayor, 5-0
Thank
with
you.
1 abstention.
Thank you, Ms. Deche. The next item is Resolution Number 137-20, authorize Mayor DePaola to sign contract with Infrastructure Repair Service LLC of Lincoln Park, New Jersey, 07035 for Emerson Volunteer Firehouse floor repairs for the base bid in the amount of $322,911.30. May I have a motion to approve that resolution, please?
So moved.
Second.
May I have a roll call, please?
Councilman Bailey?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGuire?
Yes.
Councilwoman Dinallo? Council President Hoffman?
Yes.
Councilman Gordon?
Yes.
Councilwoman Argenzio?
Yes.
Passes, Mayor, 6-0.
Thank you, Ms.
Take a
Nugent.
moment, Mayor, if I could.
Yes.
I'd like to thank Rob again. I've been doing it each month, and each month he's done another step, and we're going to meet tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. at the firehouse, and go over things again.
Excellent.
But it was this man's work that made it possible.
Our preliminary, pre-construction meeting is tomorrow at 10 a.m. We believe that we are still on track for the timetable that we had expected, which is by October 1st. But we will have better analysis of that after tomorrow, after we get to speak to the actual person who's doing the construction, doing the work there. But we look forward to giving that back to the council, get to the council after tomorrow when we hear what they report back to us. And myself, the mayor, should be there, will be there, and along with a couple of the council members that we've asked to be there too.
Fire chief is away, but the second fire chief?
Deputy will be there, yes.
Deputy will be there.
Mhm.
Perry will be there?
Perry will be there too.
All right, good. All right. Moving on to unfinished business, follow-up discussion of appropriate authority. Rob?
So as of this moment, I had spoken to our attorney, not Randy, but to John. John has said he's looking into how we're going to go about this, that this is still a little tricky on some of the stuff to where commissioners and whatnot. Since John is away for now, he has said that when he gets back that this is, he would be looking into this. That's where we are with the best update I can give you on it right now.
Okay. Does anyone else have any comment on it?
Yes. First of all, I think that the whole issue with the question of commissioners and how much authority the commissioners have can be addressed very easily by changing the commissioners to the members of the police committee. I was hoping that, I didn't realize John was not going to be here tonight. I was hoping that we could get some more information as far as the issue with the commissioners. I did try to look through state statute. I couldn't find anything in state statute that in any way defined the powers of a commissioner, what those powers are. Nonetheless, I think if there's an issue with that, I just think it could be dealt with very easily, and I just have a recommended rewording, which I'm just going to read here, and it would say the following. This is chapter 77.3, which presently has the commissioners, and I would recommend it changing to the following. The appropriate authority required by NJSA 40A 14-118 shall consist of the borough administrator and the 2 council members elected by the council to the Police, Auxiliary Police, Office of Emergency Management, and Courts Committee. And that's simply that. And to me, that's really all you need. That would take care of any issues with the committee, having commissioners and committee members. And to me, seems like a pretty simple fix to the issue.
Did John give you any update on that?
Well, we discussed it briefly. I think that your current ordinance is certainly not clear, and I think that, as Council President indicates, there's some gray area in the statute as well. So some more research needs to be done before you come up with the appropriate direction.
There's no gray area as far as what the statute says about what we can, how we can create it, actually, Randy. It actually says that, as used in this section, appropriate authority means the mayor, manager, or such other appropriate executive or administrative officer, such as a full-time director, et cetera, or the governing body, or any designated committee or member thereof. So to me, that's very plain. I mean, there's no gray area. There's nothing uncertain there. To me, that's very clear. And I've looked through ordinances from many other towns, and towns do it differently, but some towns have committees, so I would assume that a lot of towns have those committees. There's no legal issues with that. The problem that I see is that we have one meeting in August. Okay, so if we get further review by John, so then we talk about it in August. Then we're into September. So we may be into October before we actually get an ordinance. Meanwhile, the issue with the appropriate authority hangs out there, And my feeling is that we need to have the appropriate authority done as soon as possible. So I would like to have this, get a consensus from the council, and possibly move forward tonight to get a first reading at our August meeting.
And Ken, are we going to discuss the fire commissioner as well?
Yeah, that's a separate issue on the agenda.
You want to do it separately? Okay.
Yeah.
A couple of concerns there.
That's under new business.
Yes, it's a separate issue, it's a separate item.
Yeah, I didn't know if you wanted to talk about it right now as well. But we'll do it later. We'll do the fire commissioner.
From what I understood, it was all sort of the commissioner term was all
Wrapped together.
wrapped together in our ordinances, and we needed to redefine, and change those ordinances and take them out.
But
Rob,
a
what
fire,
does-
Mayor, the way I understood what John was saying about police commissioner, there's this possibility they can have badges and have all this authority. Fire commissioner is different. Fire commissioner doesn't deal with the police. The fire commissioner deals with the fire department, and there's different issues there. So I really see them as two separate issues.
Yeah, I just see the fire commissioner, supervision, control, management of the fire department. That's above my pay grade, and there are a couple of other things in here with disciplining and so on. I think it needs a really good look over, because this isn't what I have been doing. I'm not
Right.
involved in running the fire department.
But those are all
More of a liaison, I felt, between the two, so maybe,
those are all key issues. When I reread them, I thought the same thing, Jim. However, I do see the two, fire department and police department, separate, and I think if we intermingle them, we start getting confused.
okay, let's keep them separate. Keep them separate. I appreciate all the hard work you put into it, Ken.
Thank you.
Yeah, but I think we would be remiss if we didn't give John an opportunity to discuss it with us after he researched it.
Well, my proposal, there's nothing to research. If you want to change it to committee, there's nothing to research. I would like to know what there is to research.
I think the issue is...
Randy, could you just move your
I'm
mic?
sorry, is that your ordinance needs to be updated. I think that's what you're suggesting, that you want to take care of that sooner than later,
What in the ordinance needs to be updated?
to make it consistent with the statute.
I don't think there are any other issues. No other issues came up when we discussed this. The only mention, I believe, there might be other mentions with the commissioner, which you would just change to committee, but the main issue was that one little section which referred to the commissioner and the deputy commissioner.
Yeah, under your code 77-3.
Right.
Correct. So if you are interested in moving this along, I can certainly speak with John, and assuming there's no issue, he can have an ordinance prepared for next meeting.
That's what I would recommend. I think that would be a good idea because, if it turns out he saw something, then we could certainly hold off. But I think your suggestion is a good one, Randy. Like I said, we only have the one meeting in August, so I would like to move forward on this. I'd like to see the appropriate authority solidified so we can have those meetings which are important.
So barring some legal obstacle, I will speak to John, and hopefully it'll be on the agenda for the August meeting.
Okay.
Is that acceptable?
Yeah, and, I think that's great, but Ken, the only question I had, and I think that was the concern, was what they meant by the commissioner. Are they looking for...
We would
Yeah.
change it. We would
Right,
take the wording out.
that's what I'm saying, so no badges, that's what I'm saying, I think that's where the
No badge issue
consistency...
with the committee members.
That's what I'm saying, that's where it's got to be consistent with the council, or what the council wants. I think that's something that you may want to talk to make sure that this, is understanding with John, right?
Absolutely.
That's the only thing I think more...
You have to explain that better to me because I'm not sure.
So if there is, so long as the council doesn't want people to issue badges, right, and that's what they're
But are we,
saying.
are we issuing badges to committee members?
That was, as a commissioner, that was some of the things
But
that
I'm
was...
not talking about a commissioner, I'm talking
Right,
about
but-
changing to committee members.
But that's what I'm
You
saying.
understand that?
No, so if you do change it to committee, that's what I'm saying, and there is no concern about
Right.
that. That's what I'm saying. So if you have some council members, though, that may look and say that they should be given badges or whatever, you want to make sure that you're all in consensus that that's not what you want, is what I'm
Well,
saying.
Mayor, can you ask the rest?
That's what I'm asking, to make sure that's all you want, that's great, that you move forward and
Okay.
it's easy.
Can you ask the rest of the governing body if anyone here wants police badges?
Has anyone
I don't
ever
think-
been issued police badges?
Well, My understanding is we can't have police badges. I think,
That's the point.
years ago, that the police
something
chief
else.
could have given out badges to any council member or elected official. But I believe that has been, negated. Is that correct, Randy?
Therefore,
And now, excuse me, Ken,
you go ahead.
our ordinance speaks to commissioners, which by right gives them a badge.
Correct.
So
And that is
that's
why
where,
I'm suggesting to the change to the committee members. Am I clear on that?
So I fully understand what you're saying, and I will discuss it with John. If he has any questions, he'll speak with you, and hopefully, we're all on the same page, and there will be an ordinance on the agenda for August.
okay.
Thank
So,
you.
anybody else on that?
Something's easy.
Anybody else on that?
No, me.
No?
No, I just think it's a simple change. Like Ken said.
Wording. Simple wording. Yeah, but John's not here.
Yeah, and for me, I just wanted to add that I think it's just important that we get it cleared up as soon as possible. There's authority in place, so if we can do it.
Just to be clear, there is an appropriate authority. Our borough administrator is the appropriate authority. It's not that we do not have an appropriate authority. We just don't have the appropriate authority that we thought that we had because of our ordinance. So we do have an appropriate authority, and it's our borough administrator. And a lot of different municipalities, it is just the borough administrator, just for the public's edification. It's not that we've been remiss in anything. There is an appropriate authority, and it's our borough administrator for right now. So when John is back in touch with Council President Hoffman, you guys can talk about it and then put something together for the next meeting.
We would go,
Right.
whatever.
Just to clarify, I meant appropriate authority as intended. I understand there's an appropriate authority in place currently.
What do you mean as intended?
As has been traditionally done, Jill?
Hit the microphone, Ken.
As was in the ordinance up until this point, until we realized that there was verbiage taken away at one point so that there are no commissioners currently.
The language isn't taken away. I think that's where I'm
problem.
getting caught up in it, and that's
Mhm.
why
That's the
I, for
problem.
one, wouldn't want to make any changes until we talk to John again.
But it's a simple change, Mayor. We've all talked about the problem with the commissioner, so you simply get rid of that problem by changing it to...
I think it is a simple change, but I think that I would feel more comfortable with a legal opinion of the gentleman that's been serving as our borough attorney for the last year and a half.
And that can be-
who's most familiar with our ordinances.
The rest of us are familiar with ordinances too, Mayor. What can simply be done is what Randy's suggestion is, John can take a look at it. I don't think it's, looking into loads and loads of case law. It's a very simple thing that John can look at it. Then we can move forward getting a first, unless there's a major problem, we can move forward getting doing a first reading for our next meeting.
I think that's fine as long as our borough attorney agrees that he could do the work and that it is as simple as that you represent that it is. He is the attorney in the room, other than Randy normally, so I think we need his opinion before we just make something that
Okay.
you're saying is simple.
If he-
That's
but
all
if he
I'm
gives-
saying is that we need to bring him in on this conversation.
Okay, if it's a long, convoluted thing, I would like a full report from our attorney.
But the police chief would like to be recognized? Micah, you have to just come up and speak into the microphone, please. Welcome, chief.
Welcome. I appreciate everyone.
Why don't you put it on the dais so you don't have to lean over? On the podium. Yeah, that way you don't have to bend over.
I appreciate everyone discussing this matter. I appreciate you bringing it to our attention because the past practice has been for so long, that's all I knew. My only question would be, do you have every intention to keeping the same three members? Forget about whether it's a commissioner or not. Are we still going to keep the three members the way it's been set up with the borough administrator and two police liaisons? That's my question to you.
Yeah, I would think so. I don't think we're changing the format.
Okay. So, I'm trying to read between the lines, and I really appreciate everyone discussing it. That's all I really am looking for. Just clarification that we're going to continue to work together, the same as we've always done. It's been very successful, and I thank you for the conversation.
Thank you for your comments, Chief. Okay, moving on to the next item, Town and Country Property Update. Mr. Hermanson?
So basically, what we're looking to do is sell the Town and Country property. We have, myself and the attorney have been talking about how we're going to go about doing this and what the process is. Our hope is that by the next meeting, that there is a solution of what we want to do and how we're going to go forward, to put that forward at the next meeting to actually get the property for sale.
Do you want to just, I'll give a quick summary. So Town and Country is property that borders Washington Park, well, not really Washington Park, I shouldn't have said that, borders Forest Avenue, and it loops around to through the back of Congress and then opens up on Patrick. So this is a tract of land that was never developed when the original Town and Country development was done. We've acquired it through a REM foreclosure, and now the borough owns the property. So at this point, we have to come through with a plan in order to sell the property. I believe we have already gotten some information from our borough engineer.
Yes.
Who said that there's how many lots, possibly?
Approximately six that he believes that are buildable, but it depends on what happens, that someone may want to combine one lot or whatever to make it less or not. But as of right now, we believe that there are 6 buildable.
Conforming lots.
Yes.
But, Rob, we're not selling them as individual lots. We're
No,
selling
no,
them as one parcel, right?
We're selling it, we're not doing anything, as of right now, the recommendation is up to, and we would we'll make that at how we would do it with the meeting, but as of right now, our recommendation, which we discussed that kind of in closed session, though, so where we were, of what we have a plan of attack on that, of how we're going to go about it, yes, but we would
But that's
probably...
sale of our borough real estate, Ken, so we can't talk about it in open.
Exactly, that's the only problem, since we negotiate, but...
So we're moving forward.
It'll be a negotiation.
But at the next meeting, we should be able to discuss that.
Okay.
Yes.
But I just wanted to let everybody know that this is still on the radar, this is something that we're moving forward with, and it's something that's going to create us a good amount of revenue for our budgets
Yes.
in order to help have rateable, good things. All right, the next item on the agenda is the NJDOT Kinderkamak Road Streetscape Improvement Update. So everybody knows, I guess 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, the borough applied for a DOT grant to continue the streetscape from the center of town all the way down to the Westwood corridor, meaning streetlights, sidewalks. I helped participate with that as some, I'm not sure, Jim, were you on the council then?
No.
No? Okay, so we were given the grant, and now we have the money, and we're ready. What?
I didn't work with you on that
No?
topic, but I think it was on the council.
Because you would have been the only one at this point.
I was going to say, I don't think anyone there was.
Well, I was.
Was helping them.
I was. So, but I couldn't remember if Jim was. So we have the money, and now we have to put the money to use. We've been waiting, because with the grant, there was a promise of free engineering from NJDOT, but they had to choose who the engineers, who the pool was. So they've presented now a pool of engineers that Mr. Hermanson has been speaking with in order to get some initial information from them in order to guide the governing body in which engineering firm that he recommends that we work with in order to engineer the project, because if we use our borough engineer, that money comes out of our pockets. If we use the NJDOT engineer, it comes out of NJDOT's pocket, correct?
That is correct.
Is there anything else that you want to update?
The only thing that we want to update is that the 4 companies are McCormick Taylor, GPI, MV5 Incorporated, and Taylor Weissman and Taylor. So I've
Would
started...
you say that again? You said them so quickly. Just in case.
Okay. McCormick and Taylor, GPI, NV5, and Taylor, Weissman, and Taylor. Those are the 4 companies that have been picked by the state of New Jersey for us to be able to do design, planning, and engineering on the project. We were given $780,000 for this towards this streetscape. By us using one of the engineers that's coming through the state, our money we would be able to use the full $780 towards that, as opposed to putting some of that 780 that would come out for our engineer, that we would pay for our own engineer. Bottom line is, tomorrow at 1 o'clock, I will be meeting with a representative from over phone call with myself, Perry, and our CFO. And I've also invited a couple of the council people, again, to be in part of that call, who are involved with the planning and liaisons. Absolutely. I've already got the invites to discuss this as again, the introductory, because what's happened is we now have a gentleman named Mr. Inverso, who NJDOT has provided to us and provided over to all these towns that have been part of who have received money, to make sure that we stay right where we're supposed to, in line with everything of how we go about the process, so that we continue to make sure we spend the money properly, and how we spend it, since we've got it from the federal government. We do not want to have to give it back so if we don't follow the proper, standard of what we're supposed to do. So he's actually there to guide us and help us. He's going to get on the phone call and kind of show us, start us, our first meeting tomorrow of what we need to do and where we go. And so the first step of what we will need to do after this, no matter what, is to pick one of these engineers. So with that, I've been going through of some of these companies, where we are. I have it narrowed down to two. I won't say which right now, two, until I think on the August meeting. What we'll do is put it on for the agenda of who we're going to select. But I will give you my rationale and reasonings for that. But I do believe that all of them are very good. They've all done excellent projects, and they've done things that are involved. But some, I think, are more in tune to our smaller a feel of a borough, as opposed to some of the bigger things that they've done. And I like that. I think that's more to our liking of what we're looking for, as opposed to a big city approach on some of these, is the best way of me putting it. So I've reached out. I've already spoken to a couple of the companies, and I feel very, very good that of the ones that I've spoken to so far, that regardless of who we used, we'd be fine. But I do, like I said, I think that there's
Do you
two
have
that work.
resumes from all four?
Yes. So
Does any governing body member want to go through that, or are you comfortable with Rob weeding through it and then presenting us with two to choose from?
I'm comfortable with Rob.
Council President?
I think I'm fine with Rob going through it.
Councilwoman on the phone?
I'm good.
You're all good? All right,
Okay.
so,
I'm fine with it, thank you.
so
I should be able to give you a report back by
continue, and then
Friday.
when you get
Yep.
down to two, then please
Yeah.
give us the
Let you know.
resumes, and then...
Yeah, and we'll go from there.
All right, good, thank you. I'd like to get that going. The next item on the agenda is new business, discussion of fire commissioner. Rob?
That-
Who put it on the
I don't think it's me.
agenda?
I don't think that's me. I didn't put that on the agenda, so.
Mayor, I put that on the agenda. I think I'm going to defer to our fire commissioner, Jim Bailey. Just comments Jim made earlier, some of the same concerns that I have. He had actually introduced this at our last meeting when we were discussing the police commissioners. He brought up the issue of fire commissioner, and I mistakenly thought that there was no fire commissioner in there, but then I thought twice, and I went home and I checked, and it does say fire commissioner in the ordinance. And what I did is I picked out all the sections of the fire department ordinance where it mentions fire commissioner, just for the sake of the discussion tonight. But I would defer to Councilman Bailey on this.
Well, coming up with the police commissioner last time, and we said
To the microphone.
that we should really look at the fire commissioner as well. And in this verbiage here, there's a management component that's spoken about, where the commissioner has some kind of control of things that happen at the fire department, and I don't think that's the intention now.
That mask, if you just get closer,
Oh, okay.
that everyone...
I just think that we need to also seek the legal division here to go ahead and take a look at this, because there are things in there that I don't think have been followed in 30, 40 years, so
Well,
it's
this
time to
opens,
look it over.
I'm just going to interject for 1 second. This opens up a bigger issue that we're having. So we have a company that is supposedly going through all of our ordinances and trying to update everything. Now, from what I understand, they're finding some kind of minutia things, but we're really looking for them to find some of the bigger things like this, inconsistencies. So I think I asked you during your report maybe to speak on that, so we're going to go back to that. But I just wanted to, this is like this and the police appropriate authority are perfect examples that either we don't match state statute or we just simply don't practice what is in our ordinance book, just by hook or by crook, I guess. But we're looking in order to update all of our ordinances, not just one or two of them, and make everything as consistent as possible. And we are paying a company to do that. And we
Right.
also have we have a committee that's working with that. Council President, you're on that committee, and
Yeah.
Councilwoman McGuire.
Yeah, I did mention at the last meeting, I went through all 258 pages of it. And I would say that, and I did have a discussion with you, Mayor, I expected more from their review. I mean, as Jane said, they mentioned a lot about how we could go higher in the fee. There were certain ones where the state entity had changed its name, so therefore it said, well, do you still want, you should probably call it the new name. I didn't see a lot that was really substantive in there, and I had expected more from that, like you say, Mayor. So, I don't know whether we can go back to them and ask for more, Jane. I'm not sure. There was we were supposed to respond back, and then you said we got an extension. I think it was like
And
in
I stand
June.
corrected. Councilwoman McGuire, Pat, you're on the,
No, it's Councilwoman McGuire.
it's Councilwoman McGuire?
No, it's Councilwoman Danella who's on the
Oh,
committee.
Councilwoman
It's
Denali.
Okay,
Councilwoman
my-
Danella.
I stand corrected. My apologies. There are some very fine points. The current fee is $10 for something. It's been that way since 1977. You want to change it, but there are a significant number of bigger issues, which in many cases, some things, I mean, they're asking us to review the entire personnel section. There's things to do with affirmative action. There's things to do with COA. I mean, there are, numerous larger items, many things they're saying need to be reviewed by the borough attorney.
Mhm.
Colleen and I have to give credit to Colleen because she has been doing 90% or more of the organizing and reaching out, and, if there are points where we don't hear back for quite a while, reaching out again a third time. And it's a big project, and we're still just trying to put everything together to see what we can get answers for, what we need opinions on, like fees, court-wise, police things, ABC, and some things need to be reviewed by the borough attorney or the labor attorney. It's a really much bigger project than I mean, it hadn't been done in 15 years, so,
Did we sign a contract with them?
yes, we did.
So can we take another look at the contract, Rob, and see specifically what we were supposed to be getting for the money that we paid, so that we know that we're getting the most for our money and that they are not doing the bare minimum? I mean, I hate to even accuse anyone of that it works for municipalities, but we did, I think, all think that we were going to get more out of it, and that it wasn't going to be necessarily that we were going to be paying the borough attorney to do it with these updates. We thought they were going to be kind of raising the red flag, like you have a big problem here, and then it would go to him instead of the committee and the borough attorney. That was just my understanding. I don't know. Did everyone else feel that way? Like
I'll
they
just
were
make
finding
one-
bigger problems?
I'll just make one comment on that. So, when we started this and Jane and Colleen started breaking this down, which was yeoman's task, all right, of getting it to each department, of who was going to, for building, where was it going for police, where was it going for fire, and they started to break it down for health department and so forth and so on. There was some, when you started to go through, there were things that they did analyze, pretty succinctly. There were some other things, though, I think, as Councilman Hoffman is saying, that they may have missed or did not look at it as, from a commissioner side, because it may be that, again, from comparison to other towns, this is a normal language or whatever. So there, I think that what may have happened is that they may have, it's comparing to basically some of these other towns or what they've done or boroughs. And they probably could go back through and say to them, hey, could you just look at this from the perspective strictly from where we are with Emerson?
Right.
Yeah.
What I did not see was, for example, things like, the fire department, the boards and commissions, some of the boards and commissions that I'm more familiar with, I looked through there and I was waiting to see some specific, suggestions where this isn't right or that isn't right, and I really didn't see anything. So there may be a lot of other areas, and I did see stuff with, I think, land use board zoning, some of those kind of things that they did come out with. But on the kind of things like, Mayor, that you're looking for, with this,
Yeah.
for example, I did not see much there.
I mean, I would have thought that in terms of knowing, certain statutes and things, obviously, but each town is individualized in certain
Exactly.
procedures, but I would have thought if they were reading something, that they would reach out to the individual board or somebody and say, is this the language that you use, or is this the process you're going through? If it's not, then you need to change it and look at it more of that kind of, I mean, when you look at a policy and you say, is this what we're still following? You go to the person, are you still following this? No, this needs to be changed. Not just say, it's all great, but look at this, or...
So let's revisit the contract and see exactly what, it said that we were entitled to and
Yeah,
what
I
kind of
mean,
work
that's one
we were gonna
example.
do.
If there's references to a fire commissioner, that might not be something we've done for 30-something years, but that doesn't mean
Right.
that they're going to question, they don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, they may
So-
think there is a fire commissioner that's been here 30
Right,
years.
right.
all along.
But wouldn't that have been part of their, investigation?
And this isn't something that's unique to us. I just leaned over and I asked, Mr. Pierce, and he said that this is something that every town that has problems with their ordinance, not problems, but old ordinances that are sort of obsolete and aren't matching and whatnot, because there's been updates, right?
Yeah, and when you make changes to your ordinances, oftentimes they're not captured properly, and you have to continue to update it constantly.
It's like a constant work in
It's like my
progress.
policy book. It's like my departmental policy book every year.
Well, I think it's something that, I know with the boards and commissions, the commissions that I've been liaison to, I've always encouraged them to look over their bylaws, to look over their ordinances, be aware of their ordinances, they should review them every year. They're kind of reluctant to do that. I know it's kind of a boring task, but I think it's something important, at least for our boards and commissions, Mayor, maybe to let them know, please do a review or set up a committee to do a review of your ordinances and your bylaws
Good
each year.
recommendation,
Yeah.
Council President. Look, we found something in, two of the, bylaws of two of our commissions where it speaks to a secret ballot. I can't imagine that there's any secret ballot permitted in public government, and, right?
Nope.
So
And that's
that
never
needs to
been
be
used.
changed.
Yeah, I had a discussion with Jane on that. It's really technically a violation, I think, of the Open
Right.
Public Meetings Act. And I can tell you, being liaison and being members of both commissions, it has never been used because it had to do with committees and, resolving an issue where more than one person wants to be on a committee. And I've never had experience where more than one person wants to be on a committee. Usually you have a problem finding just one person who wants to be on a committee. So, that's the kind of thing that should be reviewed annually.
And just not to discuss this topic, but to just give you perspective, so about every 6 months, any ordinance that we have approved or, voted on and are adding to our code book, it's in ordinance form, but we have to send it to general code to have it codified, so it has to blend in with all the other code.
Right.
And that can be at least several $1,000s just for, the past 6 months. So just to have those ordinances that we approved codified is several $1,000s. It wasn't prepared to give a price, but I think to do this entire code book where they reviewed everything is somewhere between $15,000 and $18,000. So, certainly that's something you can certainly take a look at, but, Colleen and I will look through it and, deep diving and comparing it to ordinances they're referencing or sections of the code. And, it did seem like quite a project for them. So I personally, that's my opinion, and you're
All right.
welcome to take
Well, for
another
right
look.
now, let's get the Police Appropriate Authority and the Fire Commissioner, and whatever everyone's got on their desktop right now cleaned up, and then maybe we can look at not only having a committee that's working with E-Code, it's E-Code, is that the? General code. Maybe we need an ordinance committee. At one of my mayor's meetings, it was suggested that most governing bodies have an ordinance committee that
Absolutely.
they meet, once every couple of weeks, and they go over every ordinance and read it for consistency. So maybe that's something we should look to do in order to make everything copacetic for us going forward.
Mayor, you and I had that conversation after that meeting that you brought that to me, saying about potentially having an ordinance committee. I recommended that we do have that. And it's not only in where I served in the county, where I served in local government too. We all had ordinance committees. They did meet at least once a month to go over the things that they were discussing of looking to go forward, some things that they would like to add, to put in to create an ordinance on certain things, or on ordinances that are currently already on the books that they would like to go through and see to potential changes in comparison to where they are with other towns, or language change. You and I read something the other day that had a language change, that we're looking for language change, that we saw that was something that just said he in it, as opposed to, instead of having stating, he or she, in that. So those are things that should be changed and should be changed throughout, not just us, but the things that we saw for the state. So bottom line is I highly recommend an ordinance committee. I think it's an essential part of the government, yes.
Okay, thank you for that. So, Jane, would you put just on the little tickler, eventually that we're going to put together an ordinance committee? Maybe that's a new standing committee that we could put together for our reorganization meeting in January. We'll get you and Colleen some help. Okay, the next item on the agenda is introduction of ordinances. There are no ordinances being introduced this evening. The next item on the agenda is adoption of ordinances, second reading and public hearing, number 1615-20, an ordinance to amend Chapter 47 an ordinance to amend Chapter 47, Land Use Procedures at Section 26 entitled Fees and Sections 26.1 entitled Fees, Escrow Deposits, and Chapter 236 Site Plan Review at Section 9 entitled Fees, and Section 9.1 entitled Escrows Deposits of the Code of the Borough of Emerson. There were way too many E's in that title, I'm sorry. I was getting lost in the E's. May I have a motion to open the meeting to comments from the public on ordinance number 1615-20 only?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. We are open to the public on ordinance number 1615-20 only. Would anyone from the public like to speak? Anyone? Okay, may I have a motion to close the public portion on ordinance number 1615-20?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. May I have a motion to adopt ordinance number 1615-20 on second reading?
So moved.
Second.
May I have a roll call, please?
Councilman Bailey?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGuire?
Yes.
Councilwoman Denalo?
Yes.
Council President Hoffman?
Yes.
Councilman Gordon?
Yes.
Councilwoman Argento?
Yes.
Passes, Mayor, 6-0.
Thank you, Ms. Deche. The next item on the agenda is ordinance number 1616-20, an ordinance to amend Chapter 248 of the Code of the Borough of Emerson at Section 38 entitled Curbs and Sidewalks Required for New Construction. May I have a motion to open the meeting to comments from the public on ordinance number 1616-20 only?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. We're open to the public on ordinance number 1616-20 only. Would anybody from the public like to be heard?
This also goes to the homes. They're also able to comment now? People at home?
We are on go-to-meeting, Councilman, so, there's 5 people on there. I'm not sure who they are. I know at least 2 of them are Colleen and,
Okay.
Councilwoman McGuire.
They have the right to speak now.
Absolutely. Anyone from the public wish to be heard? Hearing no requests, may I have a motion to close the meeting to comments on ordinance number 1616-20?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. May I have a motion to adopt ordinance number 1616-20 on second reading?
So moved.
Second.
May I have a roll call, please, Ms. DJ?
Councilman Bailey?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGuire?
Yes.
Councilwoman Demello?
Yes.
Council President Hoffman?
Yes.
Councilman Gordon?
Yes.
Councilwoman Argenzia?
Yes.
Passes mayor 6-0.
Thank you, Ms. DJ. The next item on the agenda is reports, mayor and council. Councilman Bailey, do you have a report for us this evening?
Just the fire department, again, it's a great thing that's coming along. I'm happy that we're meeting tomorrow. Rob, again, did a yeoman's job. I have no other reports to make, just that I'm happy with the way things are progressing. The architect coming now, and for the addition on the building, get the police department a new place to work, and I think these are good things that are happening upcoming in town.
I just want to ask you, did you give anyone a heads up
On which?
for a closed session?
Not yet. We still have a little bit to go.
Okay. Some of our professionals are coming in just, for a closed session. And we
I'm
don't
not
want
calling them until I have to pay
the whole
them.
meeting, so Rob was going to give them a heads up when they should start heading in.
I'm only going to call them when I have to, so we don't have to put them on the clock to pay them.
Councilwoman Denali, do you have a report?
He's not kidding.
And then speak into the microphone, please. That way everyone can hear you. All right.
The Chamber would like to thank all the residents, that were going to donate blood in the blood bank, but unfortunately, it was canceled, really due to the COVID. But they are in conversations right now. They want to attempt to bring it back in September, probably October, but they're talking to them about that. The Chamber is also looking to reconvene in-person meetings come September, hopefully, but they are following future direction from the CDC. From the Board of Education, the district is working on a variety, as all the parents here know, variety of committees to restart and reopen the plans for our school opening in September. The state continues to offer updates and information, and they are adjusting along the way. But they're adjusting an awful lot, from what I understand. Also, the New Jersey Sports Association has delayed the start of fall sports until September/October. They're not exactly sure of the date, but they're definitely, delaying it until that. So they're seeing what's going to happen. That's all I have today.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Council President Hoffman, do you have a report for us this evening?
Want to go to Councilwoman McGuire?
I'm just going to go the way, no, I'd like to go to you.
Oh, okay. I really don't have too much from the last, from my last report. As you know, the Shade Tree Commission lost a couple of their members, so they're down to 4. So they're doing the best they can with a small number of people to move forward. They want to do another tree planting for the fall, and that takes a fair amount of work, but they're moving forward trying to get that done. It takes some time to get that all, together, to get the homeowners on board with the trees. So they're working on that. I don't know if I mentioned this at the last meeting, but they've decided to cancel their makeup Arbor Day ceremony for this year. It's just gotten a little bit late. It won't affect Tree City requirement. Normally, it's a Tree City requirement to have some kind of Arbor Day event. Tree City has waived that for this year, so that's no problem. And they'll proceed with their Arbor Day ceremony for next year. And
But they'll include everyone from this year.
yes, they will. As far as the memorial aspect of it, yes, they will include everyone.
So do you want to tell the public what they do, and if now they have extra time, if they would like to add a loved one?
I'm not sure how the commission will probably decide how to do that. Fred Moulton, who's a member of the commission, has been working with Colleen to do some online stuff where people can go right in and submit, instead of printing something out, actually submit something so That may be part of what Fred has been working with Colleen with. For example, if you wanted to have a tree planted, you wouldn't have to print something out and fill out the form and mail it in. You could actually do it right on the computer, like we do our financial disclosures, Mayor, on the computer.
Okay.
So Fred may be working on something like that, and when I find out what's to be done, I will let everyone know.
Thank you, Council President. Councilwoman, I'm looking right at you. Argentia.
Just a brief
Do you have
one.
a report?
Just a brief one. The ambulance for the month of June took a total of 30 calls, 29 in Emerson, 1 in another town for mutual aid. They drove a total of 102 miles, 20-hour shifts were covered, and 498 man-hours of service was donated to the volunteered to the town. So that was really it. They just discussed about graduation, having an ambulance present for any emergencies, and everything else seemed to be well. The Board of Health does not meet, and Historic has not started yet.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Gordon?
All right. For the police department, in the month of May, they covered, their service calls were 1,589. They arrested 4 adults. There was no CDS arrests and no DWI arrests. 911 calls they fielded was 121. That was for the month of May. For the month of June, 1,850 calls of service. Adults arrested 1. No CDS arrests, no DWIs. 911 calls was 143. And then for the DPW, they recycled 6,420 pounds of metal, generated a revenue of $257. The DPW continued sanitizing the Borough Hall, the library, the senior center, recreation center, bus stops, trash receptacles, and the DPW, made a mistake there. They opened and disinfected all playgrounds on July 2nd and will sanitize them on a regular basis. The DPW installed a door, a plexiglass partition, screen to help protect people working and residents entering the Borough Clerk's office from the COVID-19. The DPW cleaned streams, catch basins, and placed barriers in areas that are prone to flooding ahead of Storm Faye. They also watched webinars on protecting children from abuse on the 23rd of June, and a bucket truck safety, fall protection, and chainsaw safety on the 26th of June. A dead tree was removed at 23 Tarnapple on July 9th. The request of the Shade Tree Commission, an application of air quality permit, GP004B, was required by the First Environment, who completed an inspection of the DPW on May 13th. On behalf of the GIF, was submitted and approved. And that's everything I have.
Thank you, Councilman
Thank you.
Gordon. I guess I'll give a quick report. Actually, I'm going to give a long report. Do you want to go first, Rob, or do you have a long report?
I do not have that long of a report tonight.
All right.
Most of what I've...
Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? I'm sorry.
Councilwoman.
Councilwoman McGuire, would you like to share your report?
Sure, it's quick. With regard to the police, due to coronavirus, the police were unable to hold their golf outing this year, which is the fundraiser for most of their community events. So the camp out for 2020 has been canceled, but they will continue with moving forward on hosting the winners for the Shop with a Cop and Fun Day with a Cop events. And they also hope to schedule the senior pasta dinner later in the year. With recreation, the commission plans to host the drive-in movie event in August. The tentative date is August 15th, with a rain date of August 16th. The end of summer blast is scheduled for August 29th, with a rain date of August 30th. It's really great to see the kids back on the fields, and I hope that we see more of that in the coming months. And I hope everyone's having a great summer. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Mr. Hermanson, do you have a report?
So most of what I was going to report anyhow, we already started to discuss, so with bonds and everything else, but the firehouse floor is working for, going forward, with that, we are with that. There was an update today, that we're hearing about schools, that potentially the school kids now are being told they're allowed to stay home if the parents want to keep them home by themselves. So there's something that people should look into and discuss and let them know at the Board of Ed. But that is something that the governor did pass, and let people know about, so that it may be something that you're going to see again, affecting the Emerson residents. Our birthday celebrations are coming down to, we're winding down on a daily celebration. One of the reasons is that the fire chief has said to me that right now it's having a hard time finding drivers again during the week because everyone is going back to work. Therefore, they're asking if you would like to have a celebration or have them come by, they're asking that if you would ask for the weekends because they could comply with the weekends and trying to get people to come around. The police chief, who is here, has stated that he's still trying to do what he can for during the week on anyone who would like to do something, if it's specific for birthdays for your child or a celebration during the week.
So if someone specifically is okay with just the police, and I don't mean that as a...
Correct.
But if they want the whole shebang, they have to plan it for Saturday or Sunday, and then they could possibly get the fire truck, the ambulance, and the police. But if they would like it just with the police, they're trying to oblige everyone on any day of the week. Is that correct, Chief? And thank you for that. I know that's something that the police department and the chief are very proud of as part of their community policing. And I know everybody, as well as all of us, appreciate that you've always done that.
And I will tell you that we've got tremendous feedback for EVAC, for fire, and for the police, thanking them for everything that they've done with this. But this has been, very, very good. It was a great, it worked out very, very well, for those kids and for people who have, didn't get to celebrate the way they normally would. So it was nice. And in fact, there's a police officer here. I think they got a drive-by too, his birthday. With that, also our phone system is ready. We're ready to be switched over, but we have a couple of small glitches, only that we're trying to work with something that I don't want to get into completely because it has to do with one of our departments. But right now, once we have that solidified, we will be ready to do what we have to do with the phone system, which will allow us to be completely mobile at that point then, in case something does happen again.
So the whole purpose for the phone system was so that when COVID-19 hit, everybody was able to work from home and continue all of their day-to-day jobs. And Rob found this phone system in order for everyone to do that. So we really didn't skip a beat as far as work productivity from our staff, because they very quickly were able to forward all of their office extensions to their cell phones and deal with the public and with anybody that they needed to deal with without skipping a beat. So thank you for that, but I am anxious for it to be over.
Me too. And with that...
Me three, says the chief.
I think everyone at this point is ready for them to get out, and go back to where we are. I want to thank again all our departments for working together in this environment. This is still a very crazy environment. Jane and Colleen right now have been listening to pounding of nails and, saws and things like that going, to try to get try to get it done to keep the office safe for themselves and for our residents. And I want to thank the DPW for what they've done, because it's not easy. This is every day something else comes up. We're seeing that we have our partitions here that they've worked down to try to keep the council members and our boards, people who are safe. And I want to thank our OEM coordinator. He's worked very hard with our CFO to make sure that the expenses that we have incurred during this time on one-time expenses, that we are trying to get reimbursed for them, either through FEMA or through the CARES Act. And our CFO has worked very, very hard with that. And there's some things that, we are going to be reimbursed for because of their hard work, the way that they did it, which is benefiting the residents that we'll get our money back that we had to spend. So that basically concludes my report. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Herman. Jane, do you have anything, or we already went through yours with the, okay. All right, so, where should we start? I have a long report. You stole part of my report. I was going to thank the chief and all of our emergency services for the drive-bys, and I do not hear the sirens as often as I did, so I knew they were sort of dying down. But I did just want to say thank you to all of our emergency services for participating and lightening up the little faces, the older people that hit milestones, and just anyone that, graduations I think you did, so we really do appreciate that. Everyone in the borough does. And I would be remiss if I didn't ask everyone to give a round of applause for Emerson's hometown hero, who was in the audience, Lieutenant Mark Savino. Mark has done an exemplary job as our OEM coordinator during the COVID-19 pandemic. And I thank you for that, really. It's really, you're here, I don't know if you have anything to share with us at some point? Okay. So, thank you for all that you've done and you continue to do. And we're very proud of our police department, as well as all the different members of our police department that continue to serve the borough in any capacity that we ask them to do, whether it's reaching out to the seniors, working during the pandemic, everything that you do. So, that being said, I'll move on to problems with the basketball and the tennis courts. There's been issues at the basketball courts, there's been issues with the tennis courts. If you have any issue with that, you can reach out to Liz Morris, and she will tell you which volunteer on the rec commission in order to either play tennis or to play basketball if you need a permit. I found out something new that I had never known before, that there actually are permits for our basketball courts for organized sports, but not just for regular play by Emerson residents. So I believe there's a sign-up, what's it called, civic permits?
Yes.
E-permit? Oh. Councilwoman McGuire, do you know the name of that?
I think it was the civic permits.
I think it's called civic permits, and it goes through the Board of Education. So if you Google Emerson civic permits, it'll come up, and you can sign up for time on the basketball courts if you're an organization or on one of the fields. So I just wanted to get that out of the way, because there's been a lot of issues with young adults and whatnot wanting to do some outdoor activity, and the overcrowding constantly going on the courts and the tennis courts. So please reach out to Liz, and she'll be able to direct you. In the last 3 weeks, I believe there have been 6 new cases of COVID-19 reported in the borough. 2 of them are in our long-term care facilities. Has that changed at all?
The 2 that are in the long-term care facilities, they've been removed from the facility, and they're someplace else.
Okay. So now there's only 4 inside the borough limits that you know
To be
of.
honest with you,
And they could have recovered already?
they recovered.
Okay, they recovered already?
Correct.
Okay, perfect. So maybe we have,
We're pretty much under a dozen, because I just did the report tonight. I cleared another 10 names out tonight from the long care and residence list in the county. So we're probably down to around a dozen.
in the long-term care facilities?
In everything.
And everything over, and most of those people are recovering. They're on the way to recovery?
Correct.
Okay.
I sent you the email.
Yes.
I touched base with most of the nursing homes, and their Armenian home has none. Brookdale has none in their facility, and I think the Nurses Healthcare had 6 people or less. I would forget that.
Okay, good. We're very happy to be seeing all of those. Yeah, we're taking temperatures. Is he good?
Thank you, good to know.
We're all overjoyed that this is in Emerson coming to a standstill, and people are recovering, and we're not seeing any new cases, especially since there's been graduations and different ceremonies. So we're very grateful that everyone has been social distancing, wearing their masks, washing their hands, and I do encourage everyone to continue with their social distancing, wearing face masks, and using proper hygiene. I also want to make everyone aware that the CDC has recommended that if you travel to certain states, and I think we're up to 22 at this point,
31 as of.
How many? 31 states as of tonight. Good thing you're here tonight, Mark. If you travel to 31 states, those states are listed on our borough website. You are asked to do a voluntary quarantine for the health and well-being of people in your hometown so that you're not out and about and spreading the disease or the virus should you contract it when you are out of our state traveling. Borough Hall is open, but is by appointment only. If you need something, please call and make an appointment. And one of the staff members will meet you with they won't have to meet you at the door anymore. You can come in and go directly to the department. But you will see changes inside of Borough Hall. You'll see doors and you'll see windows and things like that, so that there's a little bit less face-to-face contact. But we are still here to serve you, so if you need something, please reach out and let us help you. Jill already gave the information on the end of summer rec stuff. The Emerson Public Library, we're trying to open that up, sort of library light, maybe 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon, and there will be details to follow on that. We are looking for, as Councilman Hoffman said, we've had people move out of town and job circumstances on our Shade Tree Commission, that if you would like to volunteer on the Shade Tree Commission, we are looking for members to join them. Please reach out to the borough clerk and she'll let us and myself and the governing body know. We opened up the senior center for their meeting a week and a half ago. I think 29 seniors came. There were very, very strict guidelines as far as temperature checks, social distancing, hand sanitizer. The desks were all set up. DPW helped us out with that, and they had a great meeting. They were very happy to be out of their homes, and I think everyone is still doing very well after that. Let's see, 2020 census, we are at 78, I think, 0.6 as of this evening. If you have not responded to the census, please go online and take care of that. And if you need any information, please contact our borough clerk, Jane, and she will direct you. And our police chief is here and our lieutenant, so I'm going to say it again as I said it. Please don't ever be afraid to reach out to the police department. If you see something in your neighborhood, please don't go to Facebook. Please call the police desk and advise them, ask them, tell them something's going on in your neighborhood, that it looks suspicious to you. That is what they are here for. They're happy to do it. Our police department protects and serves everyone within the borough, whether you work here, live here, passing through here. If you need their help, please do not hesitate to call. I see a lot of different comments on Facebook that they don't want to bother the police. If they see something and they go to Facebook and ask people, don't do that, please. Call the police desk, and please get whatever it is you think is suspicious checked out for the safety of yourself and everybody else living around amongst you in our borough. I think that's enough for this evening from me. Do you have a report for us through Mr. McCann or yourself?
I do not have a report from Mr. McCann, but I want to thank the council for providing you with advice and consent, and I look forward to attempting to fill the large shoes that I'll be taking over for a period of time as redevelopment. So thank you.
You're welcome. We're very happy to have you. Additionally, join us as one of our borough council. So the next item on the agenda is public comment. Members of the public are welcome to speak on any topic by announcing your name and address for the record and asking for permission one at a time. In the interest of time, speakers are limited to 5 minutes, including questions and answers. In consideration of all who may wish to speak, please keep your comments brief and concise. May I have a motion to open the meeting to general comments from the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. We are open to the public. Would anyone from the public like to be heard? Colleen, is anybody from the public on with you?
Hello, this is Kate Stutzel.
Hello, Ms. Stutzel. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Good. Welcome.
Thank you. My address is 186 Eagle Drive, just for record. First off, I'd like to second the mayor's comments about the Emerson Police Department and thank them for their service. There was an issue at that they looked at our home this past month that was referred over by the Woodcliff Lake PD because of an issue at my husband's church. We really appreciated the officer that stopped by. And strongly encouraged my husband to call them anytime he needed them. It really provided a lot of support. during, and at the time that nothing ended up happening, that was scary, but it was really, we really appreciate their support at that time and all they do for the borough. Moving on to my question, could someone explain in layman's terms what the $6.5 million in bonds was for?
The $6.5 million in bonds were, every 5 years, we take all of our bonds that have been bonded over a period of time, and we put them together and basically refinance them and get a better rate and pay more money towards the principal and less interest rate.
Basically, it's our notes.
It's not new, it's something that we do, is that?
Yeah, it's our capital projects that we've had over the last 5 years, and that we take it from short-term financing, where we do it from the short-term side, and we roll it into one big bond after every 5 years, because if we do it every year, it becomes very expensive, becomes more expensive to the borough, from legal side and for financing side and going through ratings and so forth and so on, because every time we go out to get rated, it costs us money. So what we do is we wait every 5 years, we put everything together, and we roll the short-term money, the short-term notes that we have from those projects, and then we put it through so that we can finance it to pay it off, so that we pay them off all at one time. And that's basically what we did tonight, which, you know, if you look through the items from the capital projects over the last couple of years, that's what you're basically seeing. Do you have any other questions on that?
Oh, thank you. That answered my question. I'm done.
Would anybody else like to speak on the, hey Brian, would anybody else from the public like to speak? Anybody here? No? All right, hearing no more requests, may I have a motion to close the public portion of the meeting?
So moved.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Next order of business, resolutions on consent agenda. May I have a motion to approve consent agenda resolutions?
Mayor, is
Yes.
it okay if we pull 2 items? from the consent agenda?
Yes, which ones, Councilwoman?
I would like 140-20 and 146-20.
140-20. Now, you want to pull them, or you want to pull them to discuss them, or you'd like to? Okay, and which is the other one?
146-20.
Okay. So, do we have to make a motion to pull them off first, right?
No, just move everything else, 138, 139, and then 141 through 145.
Well, if we discuss these first, maybe they could go back on the agenda.
You would vote them separately. That's why they're asking to be pulled.
Does you merely want to discuss?
Do you just want to discuss them, Councilwoman, or do you want to vote differently on them than you do the rest?
I would just like to discuss and add a little commentary to essentially 140-20.
Okay, so why don't you go ahead and do that?
Sure, 140-20 is in support of the permanent appointment of police officer Justin Schwartz. Schwartz has been recommended for retention. The chief reports that all the officers and supervisors are impressed by his character, intelligence, work ethic, and discipline, and he will be an asset to Emerson's dedicated police force. And I just wanted to congratulate him, and I'm sure everyone on the governing body would as well. Congratulate him and wish him continued success.
Very good, thank you. And then item CA 146-20, urging state government to choose financial solutions without imposing a state property tax. Do you have a comment on that?
I just wanted to comment that this resolution would be advocating for, the property tax relief for our seniors with regard to homestead property and senior freeze reimbursements. And I think that's something that, as a governing body member, and I know that you as well, Mayor, something that we definitely have been concerned about, and we think about our seniors, and I just wanted that comment.
Okay. So we can leave them on the consent agenda. You just wanted to make comments.
Sure, if anyone else does.
All right. Would anyone else like to comment on those two resolutions? No? Okay. May I have a motion to approve consent agenda resolution number 138-20 through 146-20?
So moved.
May I have a roll call, please?
Councilman Daley?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGuire? Councilwoman Denato?
Yes.
Council President Hoffman?
Yes.
Councilman Gordon?
Yes.
Councilwoman Orgenzia?
Yes.
Passes Mayor 6-0.
Thank you, Ms. Deche. Our next item on the agenda is closed executive session, resolution number 147-20. We are now going to go into closed. Members of the public may remain on go-to meeting until we return to open session, at which time formal action may be taken. May I have a motion to go into closed executive session to discuss matters exempt from the public pursuant to NJSA 10:4-1 et sec, and adequately noticed by resolution number 147-20.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Daley?
Yes.
Councilwoman McGuire?
Yes.
Councilwoman Denato?
Yes.
Council President Hoffman?
Yes.
Councilman Gordon?
Yes.
Councilwoman Orgenzia?
Yes.
Passes Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Deche. Okay, we're now in closed.
This conference.
Congratulations.
Can I get a motion to go back into open?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
With no further business to,
We need to open the door.
oh yeah, open the door. Rob the door.
Please, Rob.
With no further business to discuss, may I please have a motion to adjourn at 10:59 PM?
So moved. Second.
We're adjourned.
Oh,
Thank
you.